Now I can get back to my true love. Surprised it took me this long to actually finally read this thing. What's that like? Oh yeah, that's right. There's 3 more days left in April. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube. I am Joe Atticus Inch, and welcome to today's episode of Poet Love. And wouldn't you know it, it's that time again.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
That's right, it's time for another local poet showcase, and do I have a doozy for you. Now, the term roller coaster has been used in popular culture to describe someone's uniquely creative and demented mind. Well, I can just tell you that if today's poet's mind was a roller coaster, I would gladly pay the ticket. Jason Brazwell. Now, here's what I can tell you about Jason Brazwell. It is not a whole lot. He's a Columbus poet, graduate from the University of Michigan. He's represented Columbus on various slam teams for both the Writer's Block Slam team and the Writing Wrong Slam team. He was a part of the slam team that made final stage in the 2011 National Poetry Slam and has since then gone to retirement in his lusty man cave. Other than that, I can't really tell you much else personally about Jason. I can't even really tell you any titles of poems of Jason's, and I've looked through my collections. I could have sworn I had a collection that had at least one Jason poem in it, but apparently I don't. He basically has there are no video poems of him on YouTube. And that is what truly makes me a lucky poet. Because if I were to start in the same timeline in poetry with me and started at any place else, be it Chicago, New York, Austin, Denver, anywhere else, if my timeline with poetry started anywhere else, I honestly would not know who Jason Brazwell is. Because A, I've never had the money or the time to go to a National Poetry Slam, which for someone like from anyone else probably wouldn't have heard of Jason or seen Jason. I wouldn't have probably purchased any materials that would have any Jason's poetry, but according to my collection right now, I was too poor to buy anything that had Jason's work in it, so we'll just leave that at that. And B, there wouldn't even be YouTube videos so if I kept hearing about this guy, Jason Brazwell, I couldn't look into him. So, with all that in mind, I am a lucky bastard to be here in Columbus, to start poetry in Columbus, and witness Jason Brazwell in action. I first saw him and his lovely wife Kim, who we'll talk about on a later episode, host a round in the 2008 Rust Belt Regional Poetry Slam, which my first big event. And at that point, I kind of thought I knew all the poets in Columbus. I did not. And they are just unique. Jason is just unique at first. And then he started coming out more to Writing Wrongs. I believe he made the 2009 Slam team and also the 2011 Slam team. And other than that, Jason is elusive. If you get either of the Brazwells at your night, it's gonna change. You know the night is gonna be big and it's gonna be fun. What strikes me with Jason's work is it's very, I consider it's some of the most stream of consciousness slam poetry that I've ever heard. It just kind of jumps around like in a mind. Like it'll start one way and then go a complete other and then just move. And you are just enthralled to follow where the story goes to always a great payoff. Also, Jason, he puts his whole body into it. So seeing him perform it is he's on the ride with you. The work in general, I really do wish I had some sort of written copies of something of Jason's work, because it's fun just to read that stream of conscious straight and then, still laugh at the punchlines. He hit him once with that wood. WT fuck. Heyo. So on and so forth. And that's also what's great about Jason's poetry, because even though he has different poems, you could line them up and you could have probably a great story there with you. So here's the real fun thing that I like to think about when I think about Jason. If you've never had any previous experience before and have heard Jason talk about his poetry, you would think he really doesn't care. But here's the thing that I like to think about with Jason poetry. He jokes about that he doesn't like his poetry. If you try to get him to feature, he'll do it unless, in his words, you can find someone better. He's fine not slamming. I mean, the 2011 team was his Jay-Z moment, his coming out of retirement and then going into retirement and then coming straight back into it. But when I think about someone like that, if he really was someone like that, someone who really did not care, coming from my generation, which has brought forth few artists who say they care about the art of it, yet still they produce shit. But with Jason, if you look at it, it's the fact that he doesn't care about it and then hear it, the idea that someone who doesn't care about the work is phenomenal at it and produces brilliant work, makes the world a lot more fun. And I must say, I think I'm going to end on that note and just say that knowing Jason like I have, it has made my life a lot more fun. And I appreciate the work of Jason Brazwell. So now it's time to dig back into this magic shoebox for the next episode of Poet Love. It's gonna be, let's do this one. Clock's really running fast lately. I'm Joe Atticus Inch, reminding you to live long and prosper, and keep your pens moving.